Shmaka, one of those easy, a little more tedious, but it's not hard. Not hard. Drop mathematical. We're going to start from Gufa. On the base, about a third down the page. Gufa, Shir Hadas V'Arava Shleisha. The size of the Hadas and the Arava is supposed to be Shleisha 3 Tvachim. The Lulav Arban, Lulav is 4 Tvachim. And that is the amount we've been hearing for the last little while. We're very comfortable. We've heard this amount. However, this Braisa introduces us with another Shita, and that's Reb Tarfon. Reb Tarfon says, at first we're not going to understand him, so the way we're going to learn him first the way that he's not understood, the real way. Ba'ama bas chamisha tvachim. Says Reb Tarfon, you know how big your adasan have to be? The size of an amma, which is comprised of 5 tvachim. You thought it was 3? No, you're wrong. A hadas has to be 5 tvachim high, which is way higher than 3 tvachim. Okay, why am I saying it's way higher? Because we'll see in the Gemara, it's not so easy to find such a big hadas. You know, it's like you need to certain halachas about it. So he says the hadas is supposed to be 5 tvachim, and the luva be 6 tvachim. Luva is always a tefach more. What? Arava says well. The reason why we say the hadas, first I want to just mention one, hadas and Arava, and hadas is a drop higher. So we always go, we call it the hadas. Rava says, Rava, Shorele Mori Reb Tarfon. Hashem should forgive Reb Tarfon. Reb Tarfon needs to ask forgiveness from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and hopefully Hashem will forgive him. Hashta Avei Shloishale Meshkachinan. Now, it's very hard to find even 3 tvachim of plated hadassah. Hadassah means, avos means plated, 3 leaves in a row. You have to go 3, 3, 3, 3. It's called plated. Very hard to find even 3 tvachim. Le Meshkachinan we can't find. Bas Chamisha Miboy, 5 tvachim we're going to find. It's such a tircha on Klal Yisrael. It's going to be very, very hard. Reb Tarfon Shita is a major chumrah. And we all know that finding Hadassim is one of the hardest of all the Dalian to find. Not nowadays. Because they check them for you and they're packaged, Aleph. Baruch Hashem, they allow it easy to work for us. But I remember growing up, especially if you're very careful how much sholish and how things want to be, it's very tedious. It's hard to find good ones. The Gemara answers, no, you misunderstood Tarfon. Ki Asar Ravimi came to Bavel Amar, he said, you learned it wrong. Just to chazer this over again, we saw this yesterday. An amma is an amma. An amma is like, let's say, this much. Okay, this is an amma. Let's say the size of my Gemara is an amma. This is an amma. But there's 2 ways to say how many tefachim in their amma. Some people learn an amma, the basic amma is 6 tefachim. So you take an amma and you split into 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, and that's 6. The tefachim come out, 6 pieces. Another way to take an amma is to split it into 5 pieces. And then every tefach is a little bit larger. And take a look, you have to see the picture to really appreciate this. It's on page Mem Gimel, and it's picture Nun Vav. So, don't look at picture Nun Zayin yet. Picture Nun Vav. Okay, it looks pretty similar. The first picture is an Amma Bashi. The top bar is an Amma Bashisha Tvachim. It's taking an Amma and cutting into 6 Tvachim. See, that's the classic amount that a Tefach is. 6 Tvachim in Amma is the classic amount of what a Tefach is. However, there's another way to measure Tvachim, and that is take the same Amma and split into 5 Tvachim, and that's actually 5 bigger Tvachim. That's the second bar. Those are the 2 types of ways of measuring an Amma. The Tvachim are larger when you do 5 than when you do 6. The Amma is the same, but it changes by how many Tvachim you say fit. Okay? So, when they were saying their measurements, the Tanakama, Hadas is 4, Hadas is 3, Luva is 4, they were going that every tefach is the size when you fit a tefach into 6 tefachim into an amma. That's how they were measuring tefachim. So for them, we'll take you to the first 3. Reb Tarfon is going to end up telling you that's not how you measure tefachim. Tefachim are measured 5 to an amma. So you look at the 3 on the second bar, it goes a little bit past that. That is what Reb Tarfon is going to do. It depends how you measure tefachim. Do you measure that there are 6 in an amma, or do you measure that there are 5 in an amma? Just keep your hands there because we're going to go back to that picture. Says the Gemara, Ki Yasser Ravimi came, Amar, he said, this is what Reb Tarfon meant. Amma bas shisha tvachim, a classic amma which is comprised of 6 tvachim. Aseyo isa bas chamisha, make it into one that's comprised of 5. Divide into 5 pieces. And after you divide into 5 tvachim, say mehen shleisha lahadas. Take out of there 3 for the hadas, and the rest for the lulav.
Which is 3 larger tvachim.
So it's 3 larger tvachim. Tarfan's more machmir. It's the same shear. It's 3, but he holds that the way you measure your tvachim is not the way I measure tvachim. I measure tvachim with the larger type of tvachim, not with the little tvachim. That's what Tarfan said. Okay, and v'hashar lulav, the rest for the lulav means 1 more tefach for the lulav. Okay, so if you just look at the picture, you'll see the difference between Reb Tarfon. The top bar is the Tanakama, so the top bar takes you to 3. That's the big Hadasimar, and the lulav is 4. Reb Tarfon's the second bar, the Hadasimar to the 3, and the lulav is to the 4. That's the difference between them. That's what he says. Okay, keep your hands there. Now the Gemara has a question on this. Kama havilu. Okay, let's assess. What are you left with? How much are you saying that you have now? The Gemara says, Tlasa utlasa chumshe. It comes out to 3 3/5 of the classic tvachim, not the big ones. Look back at the picture one more time. It's coming out that Reb Tarfon in the 3rd bar, which just shows you the amount. Reb Tarfon holds that it's 3 tvachim, classic tvachim, compared to the top bar. It's 3 tvachim and 3/5. That is Reb Tarfon's amount. 3 3/5. That's how much it is of classic tvachim. Back to the Gemara. So you tell me it's tlasu chumshe, 3 3/5. If that's the case, we have a big problem. Kasha the Shmuel, we now have a stira between Shmuel and Shmuel. What's the stira? Hacha, over here, Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel made a comment and said, Shir hadas v'rabba shloisha, the das and the rabbas need to be 3 tvachim. That's what he says here. But v'hasam, there's another place, we don't have it here, but somewhere else where he says, Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, halacha Rabbi Tarfon, that Shmuel passes like Rabbi Tarfon. This is a stira. If you pass him like Rabbi Tarfon, it comes out to 3 3/5. If you pass him like, and if you don't pass like Rabbi Tarfon, it's 3. So how could Shmuel say in one place 3 tvachim, one place is 3 3/5?
No?
Oh, that's a Hillel said yesterday. I guess you would have to elaborate more. You can't just say 3. It's a misconception. You have to be, because 3 is usually the more classic ones. Sorry, 3 is usually the more classic ones is the shisha tvachim one. So if you want to be interesting and tell me it's the bigger tvachim, you have to elaborate that, or else you're not explaining yourself well. 3 what? If you say now, think of 3 classic tvachim. If you meant the bigger ones, then say a bas chamisha. So we have a stira. So the Gemara answers, which is a little bit your answer. The Gemara says a little bit different. The Gemara says, "Lo dak." He wasn't exact. He meant 3, but 3 not what you were saying. That 3 means 3 the bigger ones. No, he meant 3 the regular ones, but he wasn't exact. It does mean 3 3/5. Lo dak. He was not exact about what he said. The Gemara asks, "Amar damrin lo dak." When could we say someone won't be exacting l'chumra when he's more stringent? L'kula mi amrin lo dak. Would someone be who's being more lenient? Do we say he's not exacting? Let's say someone comes over to me and says, "How much do I have to drink on Pesach for my wine?" And I tell you, it's all I have to drink is a revius. So you come back later like, I thought you said you told somebody else revius a little bit more. It wasn't exact. I meant revius a little more. You should have told me that, right? If you're being more, if it's larger shear, it gets to be much more exacting. You don't say something that's not exact if it's more. When it's less, you could let that be machmer. Let's say someone guy comes over to me and says, "How much I need to drink for Pesach or revius?" Yeah, but you told somebody else 3.9. Okay, it's 1 jar more. So I said revius. Relax. Whatever with that. I said 4 ounces and really saw someone 3.9. I was living a little more machmer and I wasn't so exacting when I went up. You don't go down. So the Gemara says it doesn't make any sense. So Rav Dimi's answer is off. And we have another answer. Kiyasa Ravin, when Ravin came from Bavel, from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Amar, he said he flipped it. He said the opposite. You know what Reb Tarfon meant? He held a classic Amma is Bas Chamisha Tvachim. A regular Amma is comprised of 5 Tvachim, which means every Tefach is larger. But what Reb Tarfon was saying was, Asiyah Sashisha. You should make the Tvachim into 6 into an Amma, not 5 into Amma, 6. and then say mehen shloisha lahadas v'shar lulav, and then take out from there 3 for hadas, and the rest 1 more tefach for lulav. Look at the picture now to understand this one. This is the opposite. It's going to come out less. Yeah, very good. Look at picture Nun Zayin on page Mem Gimel. So it's a lead box, and the Tanakama, he holds the standard amma is comprised of 5 tvachim. So when he said 3, it takes you to the 3 there. Says Reb Tarfon, no. The famous 3 tvachim is in an amma of shisha tvachim, which is the second bar, which takes you to the 3, which is much less, which is a little bit less. That's what Reb Tarfon was saying. Reb Tarfon said, you use an amma bas chamisha. No, don't use that to judge tvachim. Judge tvachim with an amma bas shisha. And then the tvachim are shorter, and therefore you actually need less for your hadasim. What?
How does your Tarfon read?
In the Brisa, Moshe was saying this also yesterday. Not kishmak. It's not kishmak. The way you read it doesn't fit so well in the Brisa. Is that he said, you're using an amma bas chamisha, but you should really use. He didn't even continue on. That's an amma bas chamisha, but you should use an amma bas. Take your amma bas chamisha, and you didn't elaborate what to do with it. It's very schwer. Very schwer. The words of the Brisa are not kishmak. The other Madamar, the words are very kishmak. Make it into bas chamisha. But he has other problems. But according to this sheet, does not kishmak the lashon of the Brisa. So the Gemara has a question on him. The Gemara has asked now, back to the Gemara, 1 second, Kame Hablu. So how much is it now? It comes out, it's Trey Upalga, 2.5. Why? Look at the picture. Look at the picture for a second. If you look now, the picture comes out that it's 2.5 of the standard tvachim. Right? The standard now is 5 tvachim. It's coming out to 2.5. That's how much 3 is. So if it's 2.5, back to the Gemara, 2.5 of a standard tvachim, which is the standard according to this side. So if it's 2.5, says the Gemara, sev kasha d'shmuel d'shmuel. At the end of the day, we now have another, the same stira. It's still a question from Shmuel to Shmuel. Because in one place he says 3 tvachim, and one place he says Alachat Kreb Tarfa, which is 2.5. Says he 3 or is it 2.5? The Gemara says, Loidak. He wasn't exacting. When he said 3, it really is 2.5. Behind you l'chubra Loidak, and that's Kishma. He's being more machber and not being exact. That's okay. Because if 5 says the name of Shmuel, Halacha Kreb Tarfa. He just says Halacha Kreb Tarfa, and that teaches us that he really holds 2.5. Why did he say somewhere else 3? He was being more machmer. And being more machmer is not so crazy, not to be so exacting when you're machmer. To be lenient, you can. To be machmer, you could. So just to summarize this Gemara for 1 second. We have, the Mishnah says that the lulav has to be 4 tvachim. We came out with the Mishnah is 4 tvachim. The dasim and the rabbis are 3 tvachim. Nobody argues about this. Nobody argues. The only question is, how do you judge tvachim? How do you judge tvachim?
Essentially, the Tarfon doesn't argue.
He argues in just how to measure tvachim. He says the same amount 3.
But really,
Just how you look at a tefach. Is a tefach this large? Is this how long a tefach is? Or is a tefach, this
you're
large?
saying that's from the Chomer, but that's only has to be 2.5.
Right, but he holds the words 3 tvachim. Just which tvachim do you mean? Which one do you mean? If I tell you from here to there is not so far, is it far in relation to what? So everyone says 3 tvachim, but what type of 3 tvachim? A larger 3 tvachim or a smaller 3 tvachim? The Tanakhama said standard 3 tvachim. What's standard? So there's 2 ways to learn. Either he meant standard was that every amma is comprised of 6 tvachim. And Reb Tarfon said, no, you should use an amma of 5 tvachim. Reb Tarfon ends up being larger. Or it's the opposite, that the Tanakhama holds, you judge tvachim by 5, and Tarfon said make it smaller, judge it with 6 tvachim. But everybody holds at the end of the day that the das and rabbis are 3 tvachim, and the lulav is. So it depends. I don't know how we pass them. I'm not even sure. And the lulav has to be 4 tvachim. Mazda is the first mission we got to since we started the parak. Just to chazer the parak for the Mishnah for 1 second. Just to look about just what we learned. Just to take it for 1 second. We learned that a lulav that's stolen is puzzle, and we paskin the whole Yom Tov pretty much is puzzle. Either because it's not yours, because it's mitzvah ba'avera. If it's dry, it's puzzle. It's not beautiful, and beautiful is the whole Yom Tov. If it's shalshil v'shunidaka, it comes from things that have to be burnt, as if they don't exist. They don't have the proper shear in this puzzle. We learned about if the top is cut off, or if the leaves are cut off and you tie them back on. All those things do not look nice in their puzzle. We learned about different dual. The leaves start to spread if they're spreading, but you could put it back together. Tanakama says it's kosher even if you don't tie it up. It's kosher. Yudah says they're kosher only if you actually identify tie it up. We learned about the Sinai Barzel, the Ksheris, these interesting palm trees where they have very little leaves. So as long as the leaves cover the tip covers the base of the one on top of it, that the spine is still covered, it's going to be kosher. And we also learned that lulav needs to be 4 tvachim, 3 tvachim and 1 more in order to show how visible shaking, and then it is kosher. Ma'aseh. Mitzvah Hashem, we should go into Shavuos. We should renew our commitment, our dedication, and shkaya for being dedicated, whatever you're able to do since we started till now. And Mitzvah should continue weiter.
This is the dedicated